Ascari, Fangio, Farina, Moss, Tritinian, Houghton, Taruffi, Villoresi, Gonzalez, and many others were now part of the history books of Formula One. Champions, race winners, or just point scorers, they were all unique. But when the sport has already existed for 5 seasons, we expect the cars to change, and they will. Welcome to the first car design F1 revolutionary era. The Argentinian Grand Prix was the first of the 11 races on the provisional calendar, and Moss moving to Mercedes was the only important move so far. Gonzalez, now driving for Ferrari, took pole from Ascari and Fangio. Being super hot, only 3 drivers survived the whole race without having multiple people drive their car. One of them was Mieres, who, with a point system unchanged other than only the best 5 finishes counted towards the World Championship, finished 5th, behind Lang, Moss, and Kling in their shared car. 4th, Farina, Tritinian, and Maglioli 3rd, Gonzalez, Farina, and Tritinian again in these races points finished 2nd. Fangio led Formula 1 to win with the fastest lap. Fangio also had the most victories in Formula 1 history back. 4 and almost a half months after Argentina came the return of Formula 1 to Monaco, and thus in 1950, Fangio took pole, though setting exact lap times with a small calculated margin then, the tenth of a second, to Ascari, as he was first to reach that timing. Third was Moss. Fangio retired with transmission problems, but Ascari had a horrible crash landing in the harbor's water. It was said by the doctors that he was fine, but was he? Testing for Ferrari this time at Monza 2 days later, he died in a crash at a section that is now called Variant Ascari. Some say he hadn't fully recovered from the Monaco crash, so he could have survived the crash, and possibly not even crashed or tested the Monza if the doctor discovered something or if he hadn't crashed at Monaco. So he was the first Formula 1 champion to die ever. Fangio took the fast lap point. Villoresi finished 5th, Farina 4th, Perdisa and Berra in a shared car 3rd, Castellotti 2nd, and Tritinian 1. By 1 and 1/3 of a point, Tritinian took the championship lead from Fangio. Moss had his engine blowing up, and Lang had injured himself in a crash earlier that weekend, so Mercedes was not happy. The Indianapolis 500 was the same as other years, but I am going to mention that former winner Vukovic was leading the race when he fatally crashed, so Bob Zwijkert won. For the Belgian Grand Prix, Castellotti took the pole in a privately entered Lancia ahead of Fangio and Moss, but Castellotti had problems and retired after 16 laps, leaving Fangio to win from Moss, Farina, Frere, and the shared car of Mieres and Berra. Fangio retook the championship lead and also got the fastest lap point. Fangio continued to dominate by taking pole as Zandvoort from Moss and Kling. In a continuous drizzle, Fangio won from Moss, who had a smoking engine at the end of the race, Musso, Mieres with the fastest lap point, and Castellotti. Moss took pole at Aintree, the track that will continue to swap places with Silverstone as host of the British Grand Prix. Behind Moss came Fangio and Berra. Moss and Fangio battled for the win, and many people believe Fangio let Moss win by 0.2 seconds to bring happiness to the home crowd, with Moss also getting the fastest lap point. Third came Kling, 4th Taruffi, and 5th Musso. Now, between races, we had the Le Mans race, and it was 1955. So yeah, there was a big crash resulting in a driver's death and the death of a large amount of spectators. The Le Mans disaster saw the Swiss Grand Prix cancelled because of the ban on motorsport after a crash, along with the French Grand Prix, German Grand Prix, and when the Pedralbes circuit deemed unsafe, the Spanish Grand Prix. This left only the Italian Grand Prix on the calendar, meaning that Fangio was awarded his third title. Nevertheless, it was the first Monza race to feature the infamous banking, with Fangio taking pole from Moss and Kling. Fangio led the whole race to win, followed by Taruffi, Castellotti, Berra, and Mendy Tegui, and Moss retired but got the fastest lap point. The final championship top 5 were Fangio first on 40 points, Moss second on 23 points, Castellotti third on 12 points, Tritinian fourth on 11 and 1/3 of a point, Farina fifth on 10 and 1/3 of a point. Sadly, Mercedes left racing after one of their cars caused the Le Mans disaster. Many of the former Mercedes drivers went to Ferrari, who became the new force. The season saw the debut of Jack Brabham, an Aussie who might or might not become a great racing driver in the future. Fangio had moved to Ferrari, and there were 10 races in the original calendar, only for the Suez Crisis to hit and cancel the Dutch and Spanish Grand Prix. The Argentine Grand Prix saw Fangio take pole from new teammates Castellotti and Musso. A fuel pump issue made Fangio not matter until he took Musso's car to win with the fast lap point for himself. Maserati's recruits saw Berra second, Hauter in third, in his private one, Landi and Gerini shared fourth place, while the only other Ferrari to take points was Gendenbayen in fifth. 4 months later, and we were off to Monaco, where Fangio took pole from Mossi and Castellotti. Mossi's Maserati had no problems in winning, whilst Fangio had to once again share a car, this time for second with Collins, and getting the fastest lap point. Mera was third, and Fangio had Castellotti shared the car to fourth, but when Castellotti got points from here because Fangio had already taken points from second place, and Ramos was fifth. It was Flaherty who won the Indianapolis 500. Then in Belgium, Fangio took the pole by 4.9 seconds to Moss and Collins. It was a rainy day when Fangio had a poor start and then had to retire. And with Moss having to share a car in third place with Perdisa, Collins easily won. Frere made the Ferrari with 1-2. Moss got the fastest lap point, and Shell had a great effort to finish fourth ahead of Villores in the final points-paying position. The French Grand Prix saw Fangio taking pole from Castellotti and Collins. It was another disappointment for Fangio, which finished only fourth with the fastest lap point. Perdizza and Moss shared the car to fifth place. Berra got third, and it was another Ferrari 1-2, Collins ahead of Castellotti. Collins led the championship from Berra by 5 points, with Fangio another point behind. At Silverstone, Moss took pole from Fangio and Hawthorne. Sadly for the pole sitter, he retired with axle problems but still got the fastest lap point. Gold got fifth, Ferran fourth, Berra third, and Deportago was the first Spanish driver to win the podium in a shared car with Collins, and Fangio won. In Germany, it was Fangio on pole from Collins and Castellotti. Only 6 cars finished the race, and 1 got disqualified. Nevertheless, Fangio won for the second time in a row, this time with the fastest lap point. Moss got second place ahead of Berra, Godia, Sales, and Rosier. With only 1 race left, Fangio was on 30 points, Collins on 22 points, and Berra also on 22 points, so Fangio had to remain calm to secure this championship. In Monza, Fangio took pole from Castellotti Musso, and with Berra 5th and Collins 7th, he had the main chance for a championship win. Fangio then had a nightmare. He retired with a broken steering arm. Musso was told to give his car to the championship leader, but refused. Then, in surprise, Collins, a title contender, handed his car to Fangio sportingly, giving up his title chances. Their shared car finished second, behind Moss, who had the fastest lap point, but in front of Flockhart, Godia, and Ferman. Berra retired too. With only the best 5 results counting towards the championship, here is the championship top 5. Flaherty 5th on 9 points, Berra 4th on 22 points, Collins 3rd on 25 points, Moss 2nd on 27 points, and Fangio 1st on 30 points. Fangio got his 3rd consecutive title, his 4th one in total, but he was challenged for it. Fangio returned to Maserati in 1957 and 10 races from the provisional calendar. The Suez Crisis meant that 3 were cancelled, but 1 race was brought as a replacement. It was the Argentinian Grand Prix, once again as the season opener. Most took pole from Fangio and Berra, but the Britons suffered problems and finished 8th in the race, only getting the fastest lap point. Fangio won from Berra, Menzi Tegui, and Shell as Maserati had a 1-2-3-4, and a returning Gonzalez shared the car with Deportago to take 5th. It was Fangio on pole at Monaco from Collins, and Moss was now driving for Vanwall. On lap 4, Collins, Hawthorne, and Moss had a big crash exit in the tunnel, but thankfully all were fine. This helped Fangio win with the fastest lap point, behind him coming Brooks, Gregory, Louis Evans, and Trintignant. After Hanks won the Indianapolis 500, the French Grand Prix brought us Fangio taking pole once again, this time from Berra Musso. This year that I should point out that Castellotti died in a non-F1 race. It ended up being another win for Fangio, with Musso second with the fastest lap point, Collins third, Hawthorne fourth, and Shell fifth. Vanwall dominated qualifying at entry, Moss taking pole from Berra and Brooks. Brooks and Moss would go on to be the final shared victory in F1 to date, with Moss taking the fastest lap point, and Trintignant and Collins shared the car to fourth, but Collins hadn't driven enough laps to get any points, so Trintignant took them all. Musso finished second, Hawthorne third, Salvadori fifth, and Fangio retired with engine problems. In the German Grand Prix, we saw F2 cars competing, but they weren't able to score points. Fangio took pole from Hawthorne and Berra, and will go on to win with the fastest lap point, clinching his 5th World Championship. Hawthorne came second, Collins third, Musso fourth, and Moss fifth. The Grand Prix brought to replace other races that were cancelled was the Pescara Grand Prix. Fangio took the pole from Moss and Musso, only for the Briton to win by 3 minutes and a half to Fangio. Then came Shell, Gregory, and Louis Evans. Moss drove brilliantly to have this gap, one of the best drives of all time. Vanwall had just won with Moss, and then they had the whole top 3 in qualifying at the final race of the season in Monza. Louis Evans to take the pole from Moss and Brooks. Unfortunately, the Polestar retired and Brooks finished only 7th with the fastest lap point. It was Moss again who won from Fangio. Then came a certain Wolfgang von Trips, Gregory, and the shared car of Shell and Scarlatti. Again, only the top 5 positions counted towards the championship. So the top 5 were Brooks 5th with 11 points, Hawthorne 4th with 13 points, Musso 3rd with 16 points, Moss 2nd for the 3rd time in a row with 25 points, Fangio with the 5th championship for himself, 1st with 50 points. The last season dominated by front engine cars saw a record 11 races and a new championship. The point system for drivers was unchanged, other than the 6, not 5 best results were retained for the championship. The International Cup for F1 manufacturers was a championship for constructors, run with the exact same point system as the drivers' championship, but adding that the manufacturer only had the points of their best placing car in a race added to the championship. In Argentina, Fangio entered the private Maserati to take pole from Hawthorne and Collins. Only 10 entries, the shortest number in F1 history, were made because of fuel regulations that affected BRM and Vanwall, and so they did not race. A private Cooper Climax of Moss won the race from Musso, Hawthorne, Fangio with the fastest lap, and Berra. 4 months later, in Monaco, Fangio had already moved to the Indianapolis 500 campaign. So it was the first race in a while without a world champion. But there was a very long list of entries. Vanwall and BRM were already here, as was Lotus Climax, and Brooks took the pole from Berra and Jack Brabham. A large number of retirements saw Moss, Berra, Brooks, Salvadori, Hawthorne, who still had the fastest lap point, a driver named Graham Hill, and so many more. Shell finished 5th, Brabham 4th, Collins 3rd, Musso 2nd, who was the new championship leader, and Trintignant 1st. The return to Zandvoort saw Vanwall 1, 2, 3 in qualifying. Louis Evans head of Moss and Brooks. Retirement for Louis Evans wasn't what Vanwall wanted, but Moss still won with the fastest lap point. Shell and Berra in their BRMs were 2nd and 3rd respectively, Salvadori 4th, Hawthorne 5th, Moss took the championship lead, and Cooper Climax led the other championship from Ferrari and Vanwell, the latter of which only had 8 points as fastest lap points, did not count in the manufacturers, or as it will be known, Constructors' Championship. In the Constructors, the Indianapolis 500 race did not count, as it counted only for the drivers, and we saw Brian win it. The return of the Belgian Grand Prix saw Hawthorn take the pole from Musso and Moss, but sadly for the pole sitter, he finished second with the fastest lap point, some 20 seconds behind Brooks, winning Vanwell. Lewis Evans got third place, Ison fourth, and Shell fifth. Ferrari took the Constructors' Championship lead. Maria Teresa de Filippis became the first woman to start and finish an F1 race, finishing 10th and last of the finishers. Fangio returned to his final race at Reims, where Hawthorn took pole from Musso and Shell. He hadn't won since 1954, but Hawthorn returned to the top set of the podium with the fast lap point, easily winning from Moss and Von Trips. On the final lap, Hawthorn approached Fangio to lap him but paid respect to him by not lapping him. Fangio was running fifth, and after not being lapped, Collins in fourth crashed, getting the fifth-time world champion fourth place. Collins finished fifth, though of his crash. Phil Hill debuted in this race also. Moss and Hawthorn were now tied for the championship lead at 23 points. But if there is one thing to remember from this race, that Musso had a brick crash, flew out of his car, and died later that day in the hospital. Rest in peace. At Silverstone, Moss took pole from Shell and Salvadori, with Hawthorn fourth. Collins, starting sixth, eventually won in a Ferrari 1-2 with Hawthorn, with Salvadori third, Lewis Evans fourth, and Shell fifth. Hawthorn got the fastest lap point and took the championship lead as Moss retired from this race. Formula 2 cars were once again permitted to race in Germany without being able to score points. Hawthorn took the pole from Brooks and Moss. On lap 11, Brooks and Collins were fighting for position when they made contacts. Collins' car went into a ditch, struck a tree headfirst, and died later that day. Rest in peace. Brooks finished first ahead of Salvadori, Trintignant, and the German Von Trips. Brabham finished fifth in an F2 car, and as Allison was the next best placed F1 car, neither got points. Moss retired but got the fastest lap point. The Portuguese Grand Prix at Circuito da Boa Vista was next. Moss took the first F1 pole at this track from Hawthorn and Lewis Evans. The pole sitter got the win, and Hawthorn originally got disqualified from second place as he had restarted his car against the direction of the circuit. Moss, his title rival, in an act of sportsmanship, having seen the incident, went to the stewards and got the situation inverted. So Hawthorn remained second with the fastest lap point. Lewis Evans got third, Berra fourth, and Von Trips fifth. Vanwell took the Constructors' Championship lead. The penultimate race in Monza, Moss took pole from Brooks and Hawthorn. The pole sitter retired, but Brooks won to secure Vanwell the first ever Constructors' crown. Hawthorn finished second, Phil Hill third with the fastest lap point. As no points were now a ride for shared drives, Gregory and Shelby finished fourth but got no points. Salvadori finished fifth. Coming to the final race, Hawthorn was on 40 points and Moss on 32 points. The new Moroccan Grand Prix saw Hawthorn take the pole from Moss and Lewis Evans. Lewis Evans' car caught fire and he suffered burns from which he died 6 days later. Rest in peace. Picard also had a big crash and never raced again. Hawthorn will go on to finish second, with Moss first with a fast lap point and clinch the title. Phil Hill finished third, Joe Bonnier fourth, and Shell fifth. By a single point, 42-41, Hawthorn and Moss were champion and second place in the championship for the fourth time in a row respectively. Brooks finished third, Salvadori fourth, and a dead Collins fifth. Vanwell won the Constructors' Championship from Ferrari, Cooper Climax, BRM, and Maserati. Shortly after the race, Hawthorn retired from Formula 1. 3 months later, he was killed in a road accident. Only 9 races were on the calendar for 1959, and this time starting in Monaco. Cooper's revolutionary mid-engine cars dominated. New driver Moss taking pole in Monaco from Berra and Brabham. Brabham will go on to win with the fastest lap point from Brooks and Trintignant. Then came Phil Hill and Bruce McLaren. Moss and Berra both retired. Ward won the Indianapolis 500, and a normal service resumed the Dutch Grand Prix. Bonnier took a surprise pole for BRM from Brabham and Moss. Bonnier managed to surprisingly win the race from Brabham, Gregory, Ireland, and Berra. Moss once again retired but got the fastest lap win. The French Grand Prix saw Brooks take pole from Brabham and Phil Hill. The Briton would go on to win from Phil Hill, Brabham, Ken and McLaren. Moss got disqualified from 8th but still got the fastest lap point. With now only the best 5 finishes counted towards the championship, Brabham led the Drivers' 1 and Cooper the Constructors' 1. Entry saw the British Grand Prix pole position being taken by Brabham from Salvadorian Shell. The Aussie will go on to win again from Moss and McLaren, who shared the fast lap point. Shell was 4th and Trintignant 5th. A simple new track named Avis hosted the German Grand Prix, where Brooks took pole from Moss and Dan Gurney. The pole sitter will go on to win the race with the fast lap point, with Gurney 2nd, Phil Hill 3rd, Trintignant 4th, and Bonnier 5th. In a sports race, though, Berra was killed. On a new Portuguese track for Formula 1 at Monsanto, we saw Moss take pole from Brabham and Gregory. The Briton would win with the fast lap point from Gregory, Gurney, Trintignant, and Shell. Brabham retired from a somersaulting crash. Monza provided penultimate race, where Moss took pole from Brooks and Brabham. Moss would go on to win from Phil Hill, who got the fast lap point, Brabham, Gurney, and Allison. Brabham had 31 points, but Moss on 25.5 points and Brooks on 23 points were still with title chances. In the Constructors' Championship, it was a title showdown between Cooper and Ferrari. 3 months after Monza, on the 12th of December at Sebring, at the US Grand Prix, the title decider came. Moss would take pole from Brabham and Shell with Brooks 4th. Brabham took the lead early, and only when his car sputtered 400 yards from the finish line did he give up the win, which went to Bruce McLaren. Trintignant also passed him to finish second the fast lap. Brooks finished 3rd. 4th was enough for Brabham to secure the title, and Ireland got 5th. Moss retired with transmission issues. So Brabham would win in the Drivers' Championship from Brooks, Moss, Phil Hill, and Trintignant, and Cooper would win the Constructors' Championship by 8 points to Ferrari. Then come BRM and Lotus's point scoring constructors. 10 races were going to be held in 1960 as the first decade of Formula 1 ended. 5 world champions and a lot of other great drivers marked the 50s, but already cars were a bit modified for 1960. Only the 6 best results counted towards the championship, as now we had a 6-4-3-2-1 as a new points system, and we didn't have a fastest lap point. A new layout for the return of the Argentinian Grand Prix saw Moss take his 4th consecutive pole from Ireland and Graham Hill. The Briton would go on to retire from the race, leaving McLaren to win for the 2nd time in a row. Allison was 2nd. Trintignant and Moss shared the car to 3rd place, so didn't get any points. Mendy Tegui was 4th, Von Trips 5th, and Ireland 6th. 4 months later came the Monaco Grand Prix. Moss took another pole, the 5th in a row. Behind him came Brabham and Brooks. The Aussie will be disqualified from the race for a pushed start, so Moss easily won the race from championship leader McLaren, Phil Hill, Brooks, Bonnier, and Ginter. It also was the first Formula 1 appearance for John Surtees and Richie Ginter. The final Indianapolis 500 to count for Formula 1 saw Jim Ratman win. Dennis Zandvoort, we saw Moss for 6th time in a row take pole, but Brabham, starting 2nd, will go on to lead every lap and win the race. 13 qualifying, Ireland finished 2nd, head of Graham Hill. Moss, Vaughn-Tries, and Ginter. Spa-Francorchamps saw Brabham take the pole from Brooks and Moss, but the latter did not start. Brabham would win again from McLaren, Gendebine, Phil Hill, a man named Jim Clark, and Lucien Bianchi. Sadly, Stacey and Bristow had fatal accidents during the race. Rams held the 90th Grand Prix in F1 history as Brabham took pole from Phil Hill and Graham Hill. The pole-sitter would win the race, followed by Gendebine at his second consecutive podium, McLaren, Taylor, Clark, and Floppart. Brabham would again take the pole at the British Grand Prix ahead of Graham Hill and McLaren. The Aussie would win for the fourth time in a row, followed by Surtees, Ireland, McLaren, Brooks, and Vaughn-Tries. Brabham now led the championship by 5 points to McLaren. In Portugal, we saw Surtees, a former motorcycle champion, take his first pole from Gurney and Brabham. The pole-sitter unfortunately retires, so Brabham got his fifth consecutive victory. McLaren was second, Clark third, Vaughn-Tries fourth, Brooks fifth, and Ireland sixth. At Monza, Phil Hill took the pole from Ginter and Myries. The same top three in the same order finished the race, ahead of Cabianca, Vaughn-Tries, and a surprise, Land. As most British teams boycotted the race, Brabham won his second title. In Riverside, Moss took pole from Brabham and Gurney. The Briton would go on to win the race from Ireland, McLaren, Brabham, Bonnier, and Phil Hill. It was another title for Brabham, who led McLaren, Moss, Ireland, and Phil Hill in the championship. Top 5. Cooper Climax easily won the other championship, ahead of Lotus Climax, Ferrari, BRM, and Cooper Maserati. 1961 brought new regulations, as only naturally aspired engines were allowed and they had a maximum capacity of 1,500 cubic centimeters. 8 races were held, and we didn't have the Indianapolis 500 on calendar anymore. At the opening round in May at Monaco, Ireland crashed heavily in the barrier and broke his leg. 5 drivers would race based on speed in qualifying, and Ginter was the first of those, qualifying second behind Moss and ahead of Clark. The same top two to remain in the race in the same order, behind coming Phil Hill, Vaughn-Tries, Gurney, and McLaren. Again, only the best 5 positions were included for both championships. The Q1, Q2, Q3 format had debuted in Monaco, with each driver having their fastest time as their representative time. In Zandvoort, Phil Hill took pole from Vaughn-Tries and Ginter, but Vaughn-Tries won by 0.9 seconds to Phil Hill in a Ferrari 1-2, behind them coming Clark, Moss, who pulled the last lap move on Ginter, and Brabham. This was the first race in F1 history where pit stops were made. In Belgium, Phil Hill, who, I must point out, was American and not related to Graham Hill, who's British, took pole from Vaughn-Tries and Gendebine. Phil would go on to win from Vaughn-Tries, Ginter, Gendebine, Surtees, and Gurney. In France, Phil Hill took the pole from Vaughn-Tries and Ginter, with the Ferraris the best cars in the field. A certain Giancarlo Baghetti qualified 12th at his first representative Grand Prix. Baghetti fought his way up the field and passed Gurney on the final lap to win by 0.1 seconds. Then came Clark, Ireland, McLaren, and Graham Hill, as both of the top two in qualifying didn't get any points. We were back at entry for the British Grand Prix, and Phil Hill took another pole ahead of Ginter and Bonnier. Vaughn-Tries didn't do so well in qualifying, but eventually won the race and took the championship lead, being 46 seconds ahead of Phil Hill and Kimi Ginter, Brabham, Bonnier, and Salvadori. The German Grand Prix saw Phil Hill take pole from Brabham and Moss, the latter of which would go on to be the first rear-engine car to win a Grand Prix since 1936. Vaughn-Tries held second from Phil Hill, then came Clark, Surtees, and McLaren. Monza saw Vaughn-Tries take pole from Ricardo Rodriguez and Ginter. On lap 2, approaching at the Parabolica, Vaughn-Tries lost control after colliding with Clark and crashed the fence line of spectators, killing 15 spectators and himself. The race kept going and Phil Hill won from Gurney, McLaren, Lewis, Brooks, and Salvadori. The accident helped Phil Hill in the World Championship, and though they boycotted the final race, Ferrari won the other championship. Watkins Glen provided a third race at a different track in the US in a row, where Brabham took pole from Graham Hill and Moss. Ireland would provide the win for Lotus ahead of Gurney, Brooks, McLaren, Graham Hill, and Bonnier. Phil Hill would win the championship from Von Trips, Moss, Gurney, and Ginter. Ferrari would win the constructors from Lotus Climax, Porsche Cooper Climax, and BRM Climax. 9 races were on the 1962 calendar, and Brooks and Moss had retired, meaning that there were more interesting battles to come. Now the winner got 9 points in the top 6 and respectively top 5 finishes counted towards the championship. In the qualifying session for the Dutch Grand Prix, Surtees took pole from Graham Hill and Clark. Surtees had a wishbone failure and a big crash. Graham Hill will go on to win for the first time ahead of Taylor, Phil Hill, Baghetti, Max, and the Dutch Dub Ford. At Monaco, Clark secured his first ever pole, just beating Graham Hill and McLaren. Andrea Baldoni, a marshal, was hit by a flying wheel from one of the cars in a crash, dying 1 week after in hospital. Nevertheless, it was McLaren winning after Graham Hill's engine died. Graham was still classified 6th and got 2 points. Behind the winning car came Phil Hill, Lorenzo Baldini, Surtees, Bonnier, and as I said, Graham Hill. The third round in Belgium saw Graham Hill take pole from McLaren Taylor. The race witnessed a scary accident where Taylor and Marais had a big crash, the latter having his car burn in flames upside down. Thankfully, he was thrown out of the car before that. Clark fought his way from 12th on the grid to surprisingly win, ahead of Graham and then Phil Hill. Rodriguez, Surtees, and Brabham also scored points. The French Grand Prix saw Clark take pole from Graham Hill and McLaren. Clark and the pole sitter retired, leaving Gurney to surprisingly win from Max, Ginter, McLaren, Surtees, and the Ford. Graham Hill still leads the championship coming to the British Grand Prix at entry. It was Clark on pole again, this time from Surtees and Ireland. The Scot would easily win the race ahead of Surtees, McLaren, Graham Hill, Brabham, and Max. With Jim's victory, Lotus led the constructors by 1 point to BRM and 3 points to Cooper Climax. There was a big crash for Graham Hill in the practice for the German Grand Prix, but he recovered to be second on the grid ahead of Clark but behind Gurney. Then conditions and drizzle saw some problems, but the Friday crasher Graham Hill won the race, just beating Surtees and Gurney. Then came Clark, McLaren, and Rodriguez. Brabham retired from the race on the debut of his team, also named Brabham. 1 year after Von Trips' horrendous crash, we were back at Monza, now without the banking. Clark took another pole ahead of Graham Hill and Ginter. It was a BRM 1-2 in the race, Hill ahead of Ginter. McLaren, Marais, Baghetti, and Bonnier also got points. The US Grand Prix stayed at Watkins Glen, and Clark took another pole from Ginter and the championship leading Hill. It was Clark winning by 9.2 seconds to Graham Hill, followed by the lab McLaren Brabham in his own team car, Gurney and Gregory. The first ever South African Grand Prix in Formula 1, held at Prince George's Circuit, was the season finale. Only Clark and Graham Hill had the chance at the title. In the period from the US Grand Prix, Rodriguez had died in his home race alley. Clark took another pole, beating Graham Hill and Brabham. Just at the beginning of the race, the Scot had an oil leak, retiring and handing the championship to Graham Hill, who won the race. McLaren, the South African Max, Brabham, Ireland, and another South African of the name Liderli got points. Graham Hill won the title with 14 points, followed by Clark with 32, McLaren with 27, Surtees with 19, Gurney with 15, and many more. The other championship was won by BRM from Lotus, Cooper, Lola, Porsche, Ferrari, Brabham, and so many more. Clark could have won the championship and was certainly going to be a great legend of Formula 1. You'll find out next time. I'm sorry for the one delay. Like, subscribe, and see you next time. Goodbye.